Netflix's Wonder Child Stranger Things is back for its fifth and final season, and first of all, it's no longer a child, it's paying taxes now. And second of all, it's a weird one. It's just kinda alright. And that's it. Obviously, this is part one of the final season, right? Which I do think is a good call. I think I'm actually going to be excited to see part two, and not like with this, where I just kind of knew that it's coming out, but it had been so long that, like, genuinely, I didn't really care, right? I've been watching this series since the start, but when new seasons come out, unlike with pretty much any other show that I watch, even though I like Stranger Things, right? Like, I really enjoy Stranger Things. But just because of the way, it's like, I have a very, very hard time being actually genuinely excited, right? So I do think, again, splitting into parts is a very, very good idea. But beyond that, purely in terms of the story and everything else, this season I do think is my least favorite of what we've seen with Stranger Things, for a variety of reasons. So let's talk about it. Before we talk about it though, I know literally everyone's talking about this, but I will as well. The wait between seasons. Usually I am very much a let them cook type of guy, you know, make it as great as you can. But with Stranger Things, I think is gone a little bit too far in the opposite direction. And for me, when I clicked to start watching season 5, man, it hit me all at once. And I think I figured out why. I looked up how old all the actors are, and they're pretty much the same age as me. So I think that's where it really hit me all at once, because when I started watching this show, I think I was either in my very, very last year of middle school, or maybe like start of high school, but I went through either middle school or all of high school and all of university, and I've been out of university for years now, and I'm paying taxes, but my suspension of disbelief, the continuity in my brain is fighting for its life, because I'm still supposed to be back where they are, right? And I think I latched onto that idea that we're mostly the same age, as kind of like with something like Harry Potter, right? Where I aged alongside the cast. Obviously Harry Potter was like a little bit before my time, but you get the idea what I'm saying, right? So with this, I think like it genuinely hit me all at once, and this is not even a I don't want to wait situation. This is genuinely a situation where it's just weird for me, you know? At this point, honestly, I think the best call would have been to have time skips. I think they should have come up with some kind of situation to like lessen the impact where we're all just pretending that they are still kids, even though like they're older than me, some of them, right? Some of them are the same age. It's just weird. It's like the only word I could use is it feels weird to me, at least. But anyway, that's like I can try and look past that, even though it does keep reminding me at every single scene where they're like trying to act like kids, but they're obviously not. The first thing that really struck out to me is obviously this season is very, very different from a world building perspective, right? Because unlike pretty much every other season, this one is already pulling everything together in terms of like the military is onto us. There's like this huge internment zone and all of this. I was so excited about this. This felt like a kind of like a Stephen King novel in a weird way. That's probably not a good comparison, but a little bit like that, where some of these things are already known entities and the world is starting to react to all this creepiness, but it feels like almost an inescapable force. So we saw this internment zone, and I was like, let's go. This is going to be like this little disturbing town with like this military presence, and it's all gonna get weird. Except no one cares. What? Huh? Imagine the military pulling up after, by the way, your town just blew up, by the way. The military pulls up an internment zone. No one cares. They're just living as if nothing was happening. And I was like, what? Huh? It's so weird that no one cares. So, like, the world building for me, it started so promising, because I thought there would be like a push-pull dynamic between the population and the military, and then in the middle is, you know, our little band of misfits trying to solve the Vecna situation. Yeah, no one cares. So confused. And also, I guess while we're talking about the military, can we please talk about why the military is an actual joke? So confused by this. So the military obviously is fairly well aware of what's going on, right? Like they have this whole thing, like with Elle, they shut her down instantly with like the weird beams, right? Whatever they are, like whatever, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to the actual upside down, are they stupid? The researcher, forget her name. She knows that like heat kills them, right? Why the hell do they even have rifles? Who are they shooting? Who are they shooting at? Like, all the upside down monsters are tanking bullets like they're nothing. Why the hell do they even have rifles? Why are there like 2 people with flamethrowers? What's going on? And this is like, the way they react to everything, it's not even about the guns. The way they think about everything and they react to everything, it's like they don't know anything. And okay, our band of misfits, we have been like inside of all these things. Obviously, we have L, right? We have like a bunch of comparative advantages to, I guess, like the average military grunt. But still, like, this all started kind of with this whole military thing, right? Are they stupid? So that's very weird. What is also weird, but is also really, really cool, I'm really, really enjoying, like, the Mind Palace thing, right? Where they're exploring memories. Now, this might just be because, you know, I'm a Avatar Spirit World stuff. Literally some of my favorite stuff in the Avatar universe. Attack on Titan, same deal, right? I really, really enjoy how we can explore a character's psyche, a character's backstory through literally personifying their memories into something physical, right? And with Henry, like the whole cave, seeing Max come back and like the whole cave story, I am very, very excited to see how that develops. And like Henry as a character is one of those things that I feel like I want to go back and actually rewatch most of his arc to see if I can start pulling strings together for myself just to have extra fun with this, right? But so far it's seeming very, very promising and very, very interesting. So I think the whole Vecna Henry origin story is way more interesting to me than pretty much anything that we saw in the present day, right? Like I just want to know how this started more so than how it's gonna end in a weird way. Because like in the present day story, and maybe they're going to explain this. One thing that I found incredibly weird with Vecna is kind of the same thing as I just said with the military, but on the complete opposite side. Is Vecna stupid? Is Vecna stupid? He is walking around one-shotting 90% of NPCs, right? Like the not the main cast. But when it comes to main characters, the plot armor is way too much. Like, leaving Will alive, maybe that's going to be like a thing, right? It does seem very, very cliche where Vecna does his like speech and then like he just leaves Will and like the guys to kill him, right? So I was like, okay, maybe it's like a situation where it's, I don't know, like some kind of Horcruxy deal, you know, like he can't physically kill him, something along those lines, right? Because it's like the whole you were the first one to yada yada yada, right? It still felt very cliche. What's like way weirder though is everybody that's surrounding them, right? So like Mike's parents are thrown around, but they're completely fine. Which, by the way, Mike literally doesn't care that his parents almost got killed. Just another thing that's just like everybody feels like we have a military around. My parents just got yoinked. Well, not yoinked, I guess. They just got deleted, almost. But no one cares. But yeah, like he is throwing people around and none of them die, except if they're military grunts, then they die instantly. And that's just like a plot armor, right? And it just feels very, very blatant with this. Not sure how I feel about that. Obviously, I wouldn't expect all their parents to just start being killed off. And I am, like, low-key starting to think, I know people have been speculating about this for a long time. The whole, like, all of Stranger Things is just like a D&D campaign, and that's why none of their close ones ever, like, actually die or something like that. I really hope that's not the deal. Because, no, that'd be kind of odd. Another thing I want to talk about is the reveal that, like, H is piloting, like, the military base, right? Look, I mean, I don't think I have a hot take on the season 2 episode. I always thought that they were trying to like pilot a Stranger Things spin-off with the whole like season 2 episode where Elle goes off and then they have like the little band of their gang, right? Number one, I don't remember most of it, which is admittedly it is a skill issue, right? But in my defense, it was 7 years ago or something, so it's not a skill issue totally. But still, I just felt nothing. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, the reveal was supposed to be big, but I was just watching and I was like, oh, she's back. That's neat. I mean, I guess it's good that they're trying to actually tie all of that together. So props to them. But I will be like, I'm holding off judgment until I actually see what they do with the H. Obviously, I think it is a much better idea to plot, because I think they were pretending that the episode literally doesn't exist up until this point, right? Like, I think the whole season 2 thing was completely forgotten. So I think it is a good call that they're trying to bring it back. I'll hold off my judgment until we see what it eventually develops into. But purely as I was watching the episode, I'm not gonna lie, I was literally just like, oh. Anyway, so that I don't know if that's a criticism or whatever, but like it was just a little bit weird. Also, I want to talk about Dustin. Man, I love Dustin. Dustin the GOAT. But in this part, everything that he did felt kind of chaotic. in a weird way, right? So the season starts and he is very, very traumatized from everything in season 4, right? Makes sense. He starts lashing out, like all the relationships start getting a little bit rocky. And I feel like that should have taken much longer, right? Because we see like the whole thing of him going to the graveyard and cleaning the grave, all that. Then they throw down, and now he's just mauling out 24/7. And I think they've cranked up like the mauling levels way too much, and all of that dynamic that he has with pretty much the entire cast is kind of lost, right? He feels like incredibly jaded and incredibly, I don't even know, I don't even have the word to describe it, but he feels just like mauling all the time. And it makes sense, but I feel like we should have explored a little bit more of his psyche leading up to this point, instead of him just going 100% combative, getting his butt kicked, and now he's just constantly angry, right? Because in terms of like plot beats, it makes sense to me, but it just doesn't feel fully natural, fully believable in the way that it was done. It felt like we were just skipping steps in terms of actually focusing on the way he's dealing with everything, right? In terms of what's there, I don't think there's any problems with what's actually there. I think it's just a weird way that it was done, if that makes sense. My absolute favorite part of like part 1 though is Will and Robin. Their whole conversation, right? And obviously Will sees her, and then like she wants to know what he knows, and they get closer and closer. I think that whole thing was very, very nice. I'm very excited to see how they develop in part 2. The only thing that I'm very, very scared about is now that like Will is getting buffed big time. Which I do like, right? Like I've been hoping that Will finally gets a spotlight, because I mean we started with him, right? And everyone else has gotten cool except for Will. Like the only thing Will gets is bad haircuts. That's pretty much the only thing he gets. So I'm very, very glad that he is actually coming to the forefront now, getting a bunch of buffs. But what is worrisome is because now we're bringing together L. 8 has just returned, right? And Will also has powers now. What I'm very, very afraid of is that this is going to be a power of friendship type of deal, right? Because if I had to predict how I think it's all going to play out, I think it's going to be like a Trojan horse deal of destroying Vecna through his memories, or finding like his weak spot in his memories or something like that, right? Like that's ideally how I would imagine this eventually comes to a close. Especially because with Max, like we see the whole music thing and all of that is important, right? That's how I would have predicted this would go, where we learn of Henry's past, we figure out that is either some kind of trauma, some kind of weakness, something like that, and then through music or other kinds of things that convey humanity, we basically make Vecna disappear in some way, right? But now that a bunch of them have powers, I'm seeing glimpses in my memories of the future of the power of friendship, and all of them are just beaming things at each other. And now that I think would be awfully mid. So I hope that doesn't happen, because if we see a situation where L rescues 8, and then the two of them go around killing military dudes, which are NPCs by the way, and then they also team up with Will, and then they say there's more of us than there is of Vecna, and we have friendship. We have gone through this D&D campaign. We have leveled up, and together with the sorcerer, we will take him down. That would be painfully mid if that happens. So I hope that does not happen. If it does, I'm going to be very, very sad. Another thing that is kind of weird, it feels like in this season more than any other, things are just kind of happening, if that makes sense, right? In terms of pretty much every inciting event in this season, it just kind of happens. Like Holly's abduction she has been around for a long, long time, right? But her being yoinked is just like a plot hole in the most literal, not plot hole. Why do I keep saying plot hole? Is a plot point in the most literal sense, where there's like no ambiguity, no development at all. She just sees him and she's yoinked, and that's where the rest of the story starts, right? And it feels like it's very weird. It feels artificial, even though, like, obviously, it's a story, right? But the way that it was done, it felt like less fluid than all the other times, in a weird way. Everything about the season, I can't really put my finger on it, but everything about it just feels slightly off to me in the way that it flows, and in the way... It's something about the pacing, something about the way we jump between characters. I also think the cast is way bigger than before, right? So I think that's also a situation where, like, some characters get focused that otherwise didn't. Something about this is making things feel very, very odd in my brain in terms of the way that things are paced and things are developing. And okay, and I saved my biggest crash out for last, right? So I crashed out about the world building and about the military and no one really caring, right? What I'm gonna crash out about 10 times more, though, is the freaking upside down. What the hell happened? Look, I know this is why I don't want to explain magic. In every single series that I talk about, I always say if there's something unknown, be very careful about how you reveal something unknown, because as soon as it's a known entity, all of the magic, all the intrigue, everything will disappear. And oh my god, it feels like with season 5, the upside down, not only was the magic kind of drained of it and all my curiosity about what it is kind of just vanished, bro, it feels like it was just ripped away in an instant. The upside down is blue Kaled. That's it. There is nothing going on there. It's just blue Kaled. It's just a blue level. What? I mean, obviously, I understand that now we're getting close to Vecna and the story is coming to a close. We're going to explore the upside down. But where's all, like, the mystery, the uncanny, the liminal spaces of it all? It's literally just blue. What? It's blue. Sorry, I crashed out so hard my camera froze for a second. But like, yeah, the upside down in season 5, again, I get that we're pulling all the story strings together and it was inevitably going to become like an explored entity, right? But the way they did it here, it feels like it has lost all of their mystery, right? Like there is nothing really, like even the wall, it's just a wall around them. And I'm like, yeah, I want to know how it came to be. Like, why is it here specifically, all of this, right? But man, like actually seeing them go through it, bro, it's just blue forest. Like what? And yes, sometimes like a Demogorgon runs around, but it's a blue forest. It's just like the extra DLC level. And I was just like sitting there and I was like, is it gonna, are we ever gonna like, I don't know, go in some kind of weird place that doesn't really make sense? I mean, at least we still got to see like the cool visualizations of L going into people's brains, and then it's like that pitch black scene, right? So at least we do still get these like visual depictions of all the magic weirdness. But man, the upside down, it doesn't feel uncanny, doesn't feel mysterious, doesn't feel liminal, doesn't feel like this abstract plane of existence where all kinds of weird and wacky things are going on. It's like infested with weird monsters that sort of are borderline incomprehensible. None of that is true anymore. And I mean, I guess maybe if we start going like through the memories and stuff, we saw a little bit of that with like Max, right? Where Max was like getting close to escaping, and we got a little bit like weird visuals there. And we also got like the will thing where like with the pillars or whatever, right? So we are catching a few glimpses of like the base of operations, if you will. But the rest of how they were walking around, it feels like no one cares. There is like literally no danger, and all of them are just kind of like, yeah, we're vibing. It was done very, very weirdly. But I mean, as a whole, I mean, I had fun. I think, like I said, like this is the season where it feels like personally, I'm not really intrigued in the mysteries aside from, like I mentioned, the whole Henry thing, right? I'm very, very interested to see how all of it began. But in terms of what's going on in the present day, probably the least excited I've been about Stranger Things. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think it still has a lot of room to grow, and we'll see what happens when we actually get into like when the story actually kicks into high gear. Because this one is very much set up. Right, I think after now the military base has fallen, I think this is where we are actually entering like the Stranger Things territory of we are left to fend for ourselves, and we have kind of like introduced all the magic powers. I think Will is going to be a big story driver in this, and we're going to go from there, right? But it's a very, very weird season. I don't know if everybody feels this way or if it's just me feeling slightly off about this. So do let me know. But yeah, this one it's all right. Alright, that's it. We have come to the end of my very, very chaotic notes. I'm mad about Blue Kaled, so let me know what you thought about it. Alright, bye now.